Do you know your allostatic load? Allo what? Hello, Governor! True story. In my first job out of school as an engineer in wind energy, my official job title was Loads Engineer. Real talk, allostatic load refers to the cumulative burden of chronic stress and life events. It involves the interaction of different physiological systems at varying degrees of activity. It is sometimes quantified as an aggregate score of common high-risk health markers such as blood pressure, cholesterol, waist to hip ratio, among others. This video is not a suggestion to get tested or assess your own score. Please talk with your provider about things like that. This is simply information to guide your experience of stress and what you can do about it on your health journey, what to focus on or let go of. You are the person best equipped to understand your total picture. At the end of the day, it will come down to the habits you develop, which you can work on and feel the benefits of without chasing numbers. Back on task, when environmental challenges exceed the individual's ability to cope, then allostatic overload ensues. To paraphrase a recent reference from politics, I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you. Your ability to exercise, stick with your healthy food plans or not, handle your work and family stressors or not, are best understood as intersectional and in a total context of allostatic load. Your current load didn't just fall out of a coconut tree. When environmental challenges exceed the individual's ability to cope, then allostatic overload ensues. Allostatic load exists on a spectrum. It's not always bad to have more. In fact, it is necessary to experience some stress in order to have favorable adaptations that make you more resilient over time. You could think of it as a window of tolerance, if that's a familiar concept to you, or use this rubber band as an analogy. A rubber band has a certain stretchy range where if you load it, the band will stretch, and as soon as you release it, it returns to its original form without any noticeable damage. You can do this over and over again many times, and within its elastic range, it will stretch and return to its original form without any lasting problems. However, if you load the band a little more than its stretchiness can tolerate, you might notice that on a micro level, small amounts of irreversible damage accumulate, little divots and discoloration stay there even when the load is removed. With enough repetition in this inelastic range, the band will break. It can also break with a single acute loading if it's high enough. Ouchies. Now, this rubber band is a simple but incomplete analogy for allostatic load. Perhaps a fuller one would recognize this stretchy capacity as having multiple inputs and being capable of growing and changing like a living thing does, like you do. Consider the arrangement before you now. There are multiple inputs contributing to your allostatic load, and the container for it is a certain size that can only hold so much. Let's say in a normal week, your work, commute, exercise, and extracurricular activities, oh yeah, contribute this much to your allostatic load. As long as your cuppeth doesn't overfloweth, it's all good. Your natural restorative activities like sleep, drinking water, eating enough protein, maintenance calories, and having healthy outlets for your emotional stress will help bring you back to normal. It might even grow your container a little bit over time. Oh, nice. Now, let's say in a certain time of the year, like at the end of the fiscal quarter or semester, a constellation of stressors get together. Boat of life really begins to rock. Your work, family, in which you now have a part-time caregiver role, nothing more important than family. Your never-ending commute, that exercise that you barely squeeze in, plus those extracurriculars, oh no, put you into allostatic overload. Week after week, your cuppeth runneth over. It makes a mess, it stains the floor, people will be slipping and falling all over that mess. While you're attempting to clean it up, do the stressors let up? Hell nah! Uh-oh, your allostatic overload has become the chronic, son. Now you have a chronic health problem. Hey, where'd you come from? And so you reduce or stop your exercising altogether to make room? And after several months, your total capacity goes back down. No fair. This is an example of the feedback loop or nonlinearity of allostatic load. Now, here's the hard part. The current scientific research shows that chronic allostatic overload is associated with poor health outcomes. like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, you know the story, and can also make you more likely to adopt poor lifestyle habits around food, exercise, alcohol consumption, smoking, etc., just to cope with the poor health you are experiencing. That's a super sucky loop, I know. The good news, it takes a long time for this process to matriculate, and each little bit you can do to affect the things that are causing your cup to overflow versus empty, or to grow your cup, is helpful, and there is almost certainly a lot you can do. Each person and their coconut tree context are unique, but starting with some healthy boundaries, listening to your body, prioritizing sleep as soon as you can, getting into healthful community so you don't feel alone in this, and having support in key areas of your life are pretty universal, healthful places to start again.